There are a lot of people in this world that would love nothing more than to see Konami return to their former glory and release another side-scrolling Castlevania game like Symphony of the Night or Harmony of Dissonance. I know, because I'm one of those people. Now, if we dig deeper into the fandom, we'll find a much smaller faction of purists who not only want to see Castlevania roar back to life, but actually go back to the good old days when there were linear levels and none of this backtracking stuff. If you're one of those old school fans who wants to return to the 8-bit Belmonts, then let me introduce you to Citadale, the Legends Trilogy, a recently released Steam game that'll scratch that Castlevania itch without making you suffer through Simon's Quest. Originally released on the Wii U earlier this year, Citadale, the Legends Trilogy, tells the story of a demon-hunting family that is forced to go head-to-head with the Dark Lord, an evil spirit that plagues the land. The adventure picks up with Sonya Dorliak, who wields the legendary Shadow Blade and is looking for a fight. Her goal is to battle the deadly bosses, collect their souls, and then combine them to seal a gate to hell and defeat the Dark Lord once and for all. It all kicks off with the appropriately named Gate of Souls, the debut installment that was originally released as a standalone game back in 2016. This is followed by two brand new sequels, Curse of Darkness starring Sonya's son Gabriel, and Legacy of Fate with Christopher, the grandchild. Each of these games will last around an hour and tell their own story, ultimately leading to the epic confrontation in the final chapter. Now, if you played the original Castlevania, then you'll know exactly what to expect from Citadale, the Legends Trilogy. We can walk left and right, jump on platforms, whip the Shadow Blade around, and throw special items by pressing up and the attack button, just like Castlevania. You'll also recognize those special items I just mentioned, because it's familiar weapons like a battle axe and holy water. This looks and plays the part, only with a somewhat original story and unique boss fights. Like I said, if you're in the market for a new 8-bit Castlevania game, then this one will certainly scratch that itch. While the three games are all very similar in look and design, there are a few things that separate them. For one thing, they all star a different member of the Dorliak clan. Unfortunately, these three characters all play exactly the same, but at least they get different sprites, I guess. There are also new power-ups introduced in the sequels, including a blue fireball that can hit enemies across the room. What's more, the third game lets you pick the order in which you want to tackle the levels. The problem is that these sequels don't add enough new content. Yes, each game gives you 6 or 7 new levels to play, but those aren't really as new as I would have liked. You'll see the same backgrounds repeated in all 3 games, to the point where I was actually getting sick of the sprites by the end. And this is also true of the enemies and some of the bosses. The level layouts are slightly different, but it still feels like you're just repeating the same stages with a different hero. Now, I don't want to gloss over the bosses too quickly, because they're also a weak link. Sure, some of them look cool, but at least half of them bounce around the room in a predictable and boring pattern. I also think it's a problem that the only memorable bosses are found in the first game. I don't know if the developers simply spent more time on the first game or ran out of ideas, but the big final confrontation at the end is a massive letdown. If you're expecting a big, epic battle, prepare to be disappointed. And that's the feeling I couldn't shake the entire time. Disappointment. Citadale looks and acts the part, but it doesn't bring anything new to the formula. The best moments come when it's stealing from Castlevania, and the longer it goes, the more disappointing it is. I'd be willing to overlook some of the more unoriginal aspects if at least they gave us a bunch of fun levels to play through, but it just repeats the same 5 ideas across 3 short games. These aren't sequels, they're downloadable content. As a loving homage to Castlevania, Citadale, the Legends Trilogy, hits the bullseye. It looks like an old 8-bit game, has authentic controls, and tells a story that's almost identical to that of Konami's masterpiece. The problem is that all 3 games share the same backgrounds, enemies, and even some of the bosses. It's also short and buggy, often trapping you in a boss room with no boss to fight. Sadly, that's the perfect metaphor for Citadale, the Legends Trilogy. Hey, thanks for watching our review. So here's the question of the day. What is your favorite Castlevania game? It doesn't have to be 8-bit or non-linear or even 2D. There's so many great ones to choose from, so let me know your pick in the comments below. In other news, I'm hard at work on a bunch of reviews, as well as a new episode of the Shoot 'em Up show. I'm also stressing out about our annual holiday marathon. Will I be able to pull it off in time? I say click the subscribe button to find out. Until then.